The last month of the summer between my high school senior year and starting college, the whole world was opening up to me. And I was preparing to move from Los Angeles, California to Washington, D.C., where I was going to study international relations. So when I got the letter in the mail that had the names and phone numbers of my future roommates on it, I immediately went into the house and called them up. I wanted to meet these guys. And I talked to 2 of the 3 guys that were on the list. The 3rd guy never called me back. And I was going to be in a quad, and I felt like, okay, well, if I could get along with the 2 of them on the phone, chances are we'll all get along well. So when I showed up in Washington and moved into my dorm room, the 2 guys that I had talked to on the phone were there, and we were getting along just fine. But the 3rd guy never showed up. And so we kind of spread ourselves out, got comfortable, living in a quad, only 3 guys, plenty of room, life was good. But after a period of time, we learned that the university is a real estate company that just happens to offer classes on the side. So they threw a 4th guy in with us. And we were a little apprehensive about this because we had asked to be on the quiet floor. Did this guy ask to be on the quiet floor? We were all kind of relatively, one was from Pennsylvania, one was from New York, one was from California, so big state people. Was this a big state guy? We weren't sure. So one day the Pennsylvanian comes running in, he's like, I saw him. And, who? The 4th roommate, he's coming up the elevator now. And I'm like, oh my God, what, did you talk to him? He's like, no, but don't worry, you won't miss him. I'm like, why not? He's huge. And I was like, well, what does that mean? He's like, oh, you'll figure it out. Huge fails to describe this individual. The best term that I could find to describe him is Sasquatch. This individual was massive. He was at least 6'5", hairy everywhere, just every part of his body. His trunk of arms were just covered with matted hair, which had fleas in it. It was weird. And he was utterly disheveled and disorganized. And I was just immediately turned off right from the first sight of him. And I'm going to take an aside here and just tell you a little bit about myself. Usually I'm a pretty good guy, but I know one thing about myself that makes me mean. And that is unkept people. I have a real problem with very unorganized, dirty people. And this guy was massive, he was unorganized, and he was utterly dirty. And he was going to be living in my room. And the 3 of us who had already been living there were relatively clean. And this guy was coming in, and he was just throwing papers everywhere. His boxes with his stuff were just completely unorganized in terms of, stuff falling out of them. Even his bathroom products didn't have caps on them, and they had hairs sticking out of places where you just don't want hair sticking out of. So I tried to be really nice to him, and I got into a conversation with him, and it turned out that he also liked computer games. And he claimed to be very good at chess and liked strategy. I was like, great, we have something that we can hang the relationship off of here. And so over time, I was really hopeful, but that time lasted about 6 hours until the evening of the first night, when he turned on his computer and proceeded to play video games for the entire night. And it's not a problem with somebody playing computer games in a room, except for the fact that 3 other people are trying to sleep in the room, and he's pounding his giant leg as he does it, and he's scratching his flea-infested back and head, and he's clicking on his mouse throughout the night, and we're just like, shut the f up, dude! We're trying to sleep! And he wouldn't stop. So the next day we asked him, please, just don't play so late. You can play until maybe midnight and then stop. No, he wouldn't stop. He just kept playing. And the whole first semester of freshman year, he played throughout the night, and we were struggling trying to figure out how do we stop this man. And asking him nicely wasn't doing it. So we decided, well, let's sabotage his games. So on the rare occasion where he decided to actually go to class, he would leave his computer on. And so, for example, when he was playing SimCity, you could cause natural disasters. So we caused earthquakes and fires and alien invasions. Now, admittedly, an alien invasion isn't a natural disaster, but I accepted it. And so he came back, and he would save the game immediately without looking at it, because he figured, oh, I just earned a lot of money in the time that I was away. And when he realized that his city was utterly destroyed and he had saved it, he was very angry. He was angry at us. And he accused us of being jealous of him for being so good at the video games. And I'm like, that's not the reason, man. That's so not the reason. And so we were were just beside ourselves trying to figure out how do we get this guy to stop. And I had remembered that he'd said he'd really like to play chess. So I said, okay, if I could challenge him to a chess game, and we make it part of the deal that if I win, he stops playing computer games after 10 p.m. And if I lose, he could go around and say he's the best strategist in the room. You know, what do we have to lose here? So I challenged him. He accepted the challenge, and I was like, this is fantastic. I'm a pretty good chess player. I played a little competitive chess in high school, and I was pretty darn good. So the two of us sit down with the chessboard between us in the hallway of our dorm, and our dorm roommates are sitting outside of us, and other people from the floor are sitting beside watching this chess tournament between just the two of us. And I'm feeling really good about this, because within 7 moves, he puts his queen into a square that is threatened by my knight. And I'm just like, oh, this is going to be a cakewalk. And I'm feeling confident. A little too much hubris. Are you sure you want to do that? I say to him. Yeah. Oh, no, no! And he takes it back. 42 moves later, he says, checkmate. Oh. He somehow propels his massive beast form up into the air just faster than a rocket could take up from Cape Canaveral, and he's shooting around the dorm room. I'm the best strategist! I'm the best strategist! And I am just like sitting there practically crying, and my 2 roommates are like, dude, what the hell? Why did you give him that second chance? I was like, well, I thought I could still win. I'm like, damn it! So for the rest of the year, we had to put up with him playing computer games throughout every night. All of our grades suffered. None of us got any sleep. And at the end of the year, we all went our separate ways. He had actually failed out of school, having to go back home because apparently he had played too many computer games and didn't go to class often enough. But I learned something from that experience as well. He won that chess game against me. But I learned that hubris is a very dangerous thing, and that usually it leads to overreach and failure. And that is a lesson that every strategist worth his salt has to remember throughout life, even when they never play competitive chess again.